Hi all, I'm Robert, and last year, 2025, I saw 67 live music events, and I have been recapping them for you. Now, the first two videos in this series covered January through June, and this part covers July through September. In a few minutes, you're going to see the recap of Grateful Greg and myself at GD60, which was the celebration commemorating the 60th anniversary of the birth of the Grateful Dead. We did not know it then, nor did I when I taped the vignettes for this recap, which I did at the end of December. That August 3rd, 2025 would be the last time that Bobby Weir would play live in front of an audience. He did pass away on January 10th, about 9 days ago from when this originally posts. As I was doing the final preps to release this today, I thought maybe I should recut what I talked about at GD60, continuity be damned, clearly. But I want you to see where my head and my heart were at the end of December, thinking about all of these wonderful experiences that I've seen. I'm going to share what Bobby meant to me. I'm still parsing it a bit, processing it. In another post, there's one more after this, covering the year, and then we'll start in a regular cadence more recently after I've seen shows. But for now, thank you for being patient. Thank you for the comments you've already sent in on all the different platforms. All right, let's rewind and go back to July of 2025. July 10th, my buddy Grateful Greg and I hung out at Rockefeller Park for a Maggie Rose show. It was my first time seeing her. Bust outs for me were, what are we fighting for? I Can't Make You Love Me. No One Gets Out Alive. What a great version of that. And the encore, the Joe Cocker arrangement of The Letter. Amazing, I tell you, especially as the sun was setting over Manhattan. July 18th, Greg and I were back down at the Ardmore Music Hall in Ardmore, PA to see the Rose City Band. Mariposa, El Rio, and Lights on the Way were the ones that stood out for me. As July passed into August, Grateful Greg and I jetted out to San Francisco for all of the beauty that was the GD60 Festival, the festival celebrating the 60th anniversary of the Grateful Dead. Now, in the 72 hours that he and I were in country, we saw 6 full concerts and 15 full sets. All right, let's get into it. July 31st, we took in the Graham Lesh and Friends show at Pier 48. Graham had an extra all-star band leading off with Stephen Stills playing on Althea. I got to see Stills do For What It's Worth. I haven't seen Stephen Stills in probably 20 years, so it was a real treat for me. Maggie Rose came out and did Roe, Jimmy, and Sugaree. Melvin Seals sang on Cats Under the Stars. And then in the midnight hour was the encore, and we got a little Blue Sky tease in there. Now, August 1st, that day started with Greg and I heading over to the street that Jerry Garcia grew up on with like 100 other people in town, where they named that street after Jerry Garcia. It was a really cool ceremony, and if you are keeping score, yes, Greg and I have attended 2 founding members of the Grateful Dead's streets being named after them, or whatever the proper phrasing is for that. And then we headed out to Golden Gate Park. So we wandered around Shakedown for a little while. That was really cool. And then we went inside the venue. Billy Strings opened the show. It was phenomenal. The bust outs for me were Shady Grove and California Sober. We actually took in the Billy Strings set at this sort of wooded dispensary area where they had these Adirondack chairs, and you could there was a cutout through the tree line. You could hear the music. They had speakers back there. We could see the screens. We could see, really that's all the stage we could see, but it was amazing. All right, now Dead & Company comes out around 6:30 in the afternoon. Trixie Garcia introduced the band. Got to see her twice that day. Bust outs from the first night, Althea. Graham Lesh comes out, does Box of Rain and playing in the band. Billy Strings comes out to do Wharf Rat Out of Space. Then Grateful Greg and I headed back to Pier 48 for night 2 of Graham Lesh and Friends. This was an after show. Dwayne Betts was on stage for this one as well as this incredible all-star band, but the bust out for me, or among the bust outs, we got a Help Slip Liz Reed, Franklin's Tower, and then we got Bertha, Grateful Drag came out and did Ramble on Rose and Mr. Charlie. It was amazing, exhausting, and wonderful. Oh, but wait, that was just the first day. Now, let me say something about the tickets that Grateful Greg and I have. A lot of the time, we usually ride the rail for shows. When we're at the Cap, or we're at Wellmont, or, Sphere, or wherever we go, we try to get the rail as much as possible, or, some really choice seating experiences where we can. For this one, we did not do the Andy Cohen VIP run. We did the just under Andy Cohen. In fact, where we were for the second and third days, we were sort of in this, it was like a couch. Well, here's a picture of it. Yeah, you see this little couch, and it was really cool. It didn't afford us the best view of the show, but boy, soaking up the atmosphere was amazing. It really was. So August 2nd, Sturgill Simpson opened. Bust outs for me were Long White Line, Welcome to Earth, Whiter Shade of Pale into Brace for Impact. Got a little China Cat tease in there as well. Then Dead and Company come out. Bust outs for me, Dear Mr. Fantasy into Hey Jude, again with the Brent thing. Love it. Morning Dew with Sturgill on lead vocals. Got us a Help Slip Franklin with a twist. We got a Help Slip Ghostbusters theme song, Franklin's Tower. And then Drums in Space into Shine On You Crazy Diamond tease. It was amazing. Got a real bluesy other one. And then we were back out to Pier 48 after midnight, or well, it's probably close to 11 o'clock West Coast time for the final Graham Lesh and Friends show. They did After Midnight. Jerry's arrangement, Jennifer Hardswick on Stella Blue. Again, just like, it was amazing. So we did that, and then it was time for a nap so we could take in the third and final show of GD60. August 3rd, the opener for Dead and Company at Golden Gate Park, Trey Anastasio. Holy crap. Bust outs for me, Alive Again. He did this gorgeous Mission in the Rain. Ghost was great, and I thought, well, that's cool. I haven't seen Trey in years. I haven't seen Fish in years. I get to check seeing that off of the bucket list this year. Probably won't get to see Trey again this year. Or not. Foreshadowing. All right, so Dead and Company's set, final set of this whole run. Most of the living family members came out to introduce the band. We got a scorching Scarlet Fire with Trey coming out. And then Take a Tease. Mickey did the fire rap. Graham played Phil's bass for Broken Arrow. We got a Sunshine Daydream, Les, Sugar Mag, and of course, final song of the whole thing, Touch of Grey, 'cause why not? It was amazing. I'm so glad we made the trip. Ran into a lot of cool people, but that's a whole other story, some other day, some other way, right? August 9th, 2025 was the 30th anniversary of Jerry Garcia's passing, and Grateful Greg and I decided we needed to be out in the world and hearing live Dead, so we went to the Brooklyn Bowl for a really cool band called the Near Dead Experience. It was a phenomenal setup. It was amazing. Waiting for these guys to come back again to New York. Really, really do want to see them again. August 20th, Grateful Greg and I were back at the Brooklyn Bowl for Bushwick's Dead doing a Dead Zeppelin show. Yeah, pretty much everything you think it's going to be. It's them playing Zeppelin music and the Grateful Dead. Actually reminded me of an old radio show that I had done back in Boston called Lead, Dead, and Nash on WECB AM. When it was an AM station, there was no streaming back then. All right, bust outs for me. Trampled underfoot into China Cat Sunflower. Come on. The Ocean into Deal. As Bobby Weir would say, this show was more fun than a frog in a glass of milk. And on August 31st, we were down the shore for Dogs in a Pile at the Soam Pony Summer Stage. Got a killer EDM song, Tilly, and both look Johnnies. All right, now we're into September here. And on the 12th, Greg and I were at the Beacon Theater in New York City for Alison Krauss and Union Station. And I will be honest with you, I'm a man of a certain age, and it felt really good to sit down for a mellow show. Bust outs for me, Angel Flying Too Close to the Ground, Whiskey Lullaby, and of course, Baby, Now That I Found You. Those were the standouts. September 13th, Greg and I were at Pier 17 at South Street Seaport in Manhattan for J-Rad. What an amazing show this was. And what made it even extra special is I ran into two old friends, Bart and Heather, from my Q104 3 days. We got a Devil with a Blue Dress into Greatest Story. And I have this working theory that JRAD, which stands for Joe Russo's Almost Dead, could possibly be Joe Russo Almonds Dead. I don't know, it's weird, but subbing that A for almonds instead of almost, we got a killer, no one to run with. September 19th, my Aunt Robin and I did a tradition. I don't know if it's annual, but basically anytime Clapton comes to the States or in our area, we go see him. And this time it was at Madison Square Garden. Now, this show happened a few days after the passing of Robert Redford, and we saw Carl Bernstein by the merch table. So that was kind of cool. Wallflowers opened up for this show and really amped the night up right. We got 3 Clapton sets, 2 electric sets with an acoustic set sandwiched in the middle. Bust outs for me. Key to the Highway. I love the acoustic version of Can't Find My Way Home. Although I am waiting, Eric, for you to bring out Yvonne Elliman again, as you did in the 70s. I would love to see her perform live again. Love seeing Badge, and got one of my favorites. Got to Get Better in a Little While. Plus, we got a little Dirty Cocaine to end the night. September 25th, we saw Tom Hamilton Jr. opening up for Neighbor. I cannot wait for Tom Hamilton's new album. Very excited for it. Did a bunch of songs from it that I have not committed to memory yet. It was our first time seeing Neighbor. They are wicked cool, and if they decide to come back down from Boston again and play this area, we will go see them. So September and the third quarter ended with us seeing Bertha Grateful Drag at Garcia's at the Cap up at Portchester, New York. Bust out for me, Critical Envelopment, come on. And we got this awesome Scarlet, other one, hard to handle. And then, of course, I found myself weeping with joy again in 2025 at Garcia's with Stella Blue. Oof. But they're happy tears. I just love all of this music. It's great. All right, well, that is the end of this particular video, my recap of the 67 concerts I saw in 2025, part 3. This covered the summer. If you haven't seen the other parts, please go back and find them. You know, they're right there in the feed and the thing with the guy in the shoes. Part 1 was January through March. Part 2 was April to June, and this was July, August, and September. Oh my God, what's going to happen with part 4? Well, yeah, it'd be the fourth quarter. We'll see what happens as I got into the winter of 2025. So come on back. Thank you.